The first time I took the IELTS exam, I achieved a band 9 in the listening section, which pushed my overall score up to 7.5. Since then, many of my students have used the same strategies and succeeded in their tests. Now it's your turn. I'll share essential strategies for IELTS listening, quick wins to help you pick up a few extra points. We'll discuss how to practice smartly and cut down on your preparation time. And I'll share some exercises to boost your listening skills and achieve a higher score. But first, let's start with a quick overview of IELTS listening. This test is the same for both academic and general training students. You'll get 40 questions in 30 minutes. If you take the exam on paper, you'll be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. In IELTS on computer, you select your answers directly, so there are 2 minutes at the end to review your answers. For a Band 6 score, you need to answer 23 questions correctly. For Band 7, 30, 35 for Band 8, and all 40 for that magic Band 9. Now, to understand the strategies we're going to discuss next, you need to know the types of questions. Luckily, there are only 4 main types. Each test consists of 40 questions split into 4 parts. In part 1, you always get a set of fill-in the blanks questions. The task reads, write no more than 1 word and or a number. Occasionally, you may need to write 2 words, but usually in listening only 1. In parts 2 and 3, you'll get some multiple choice questions. These may have 3 options and 1 answer, or 5 options and 2 answers. In these sections, you might also find a map, quite a tricky type of task, or a matching information task with a set of options in the box, which you need to match to a list of questions below. In the latest official Cambridge practice tests, I found a new pattern. In the past, there was either a map or a set of matching information questions, one or the other. Now you may occasionally get both. For example, the 2 tasks you've just seen are from the same test. Part 4 is another set of filling the blanks questions. However, questions in this part are noticeably harder than in part 1. And if you just compare our tasks, part 1 was a dialogue between 2 people about a local park, an easy everyday topic, while part 4 is an academic lecture about a Neolithic archaeological site. Very different vocabulary, as you can imagine. These are all the main question types. Remember that you will hear each recording only once, and there are no pauses between different parts of the listening test. Now, let's talk about 2 strategies in IELTS listening that can make a huge difference to your score. If you try to practice listening test, you've probably noticed that the test is fast-paced. There is a lot to read, a lot to listen to. Options are not easy to pick from, and it can all get pretty overwhelming, and it's so easy to miss some answers. One thing that could make this section a bit easier is if you could carefully read questions before listening to the recording. Indeed, in the test, you are given some time to do that. Well, it's enough in part 1 and maybe part 2. In parts 3 and 4, it's not. For example, you are given 35 seconds to read all this. I didn't finish. Here is the solution that helped me with that very first test I took when I still lived in Kazakhstan and only dreamed about studying in the UK. And it worked in every test since. Well, I got an 8.5 in one test, but 9s in all others. At the end of each section, you're given 30 seconds to review your answers. If you add this time to reading the questions coming next, it can make all the difference. So use the time for revision to read questions coming next. And if you're wondering if you are allowed to go to the next section before you hear the instructions to do so, the answer is yes. Once the test begins, you can go to any page you like. And you can review your answers in the extra time after the test. You've read all the questions, then the recording starts playing, and suddenly there are so many elements in the task. If you don't know where to look and what's coming next, the task will be 10 times harder. So knowing one simple thing about the test can help a lot. All IELTS listening questions come in order. If we have a look at the map again, you'll first hear about question number 16, the farm shop, then number 17, the disabled entry, and so on. While preparing, there is no need to spend too much time on the questions because you know in which order they come. So spend your valuable time on studying the map and try to memorize the objects. And remember that you start at the entrance, in our case, the car park, and it's usually at the bottom of the map. Now let's have a look at another task. In a matching information exercise, we see a box with options named opinions and below the questions from 25 to 30. Again, follow the questions. You hear about number 25, use of local products, then 26, reduction in unnecessary packaging, and so on. While preparing, carefully read the options in the box. And here I'd normally say and highlight the keywords. This is particularly helpful when you have long questions and options, like in this task. But if you take IELTS on computer, there is simply not enough time to highlight anything, so try to memorize what each option is about. So the two most important strategies that can help you make this test more manageable are to read all the questions and options before the recording using the revision time for that. And then once the recording starts playing, to follow the questions. Apart from these strategies, there are some other easy wins or helpful pieces of knowledge that can help you get more correct answers. Here they are. First of all, information is never repeated in IELTS listening. Each option is only discussed once. It's either correct or incorrect. The answer will not change. Once you found your answer, move on to the next question. Saying that, you will hear them discussing options that turn out to be incorrect. Beware of distractors intended to confuse or mislead you. Let me show you how they work. They are sometimes used in maps when you hear something like, "We wanted to move the cafe closer to the lake." You think, okay, the option near the lake is the answer. But they continue, but then we decided to keep it in the existing location near the rose garden. Be ready. In another question type, multiple choice questions, several options on the list are usually discussed, but only one of them is correct and the meaning is the same. For example, look at this question. Which event raised most funds this year? And you may hear, the film show usually attracts a significant number of donations, but this year it rained so much that the event was cancelled. The pancake evening generated some money for the charity, but the biggest success in terms of raising funds too was the cookery demonstration. You see, all the options were mentioned, and probably the film show raised most funds last year, but this year it was the cookery demonstration. A lot of distractors. Next, don't wait to hear the exact words from the question in the recording. While you hear some, correct options are often paraphrased. So look for the same meaning, not the same words. And if you missed an answer, move on to the next question. Trying to find an answer you missed is a sure way to miss more answers. At the end of the test, there will be some time when you come back to these questions and try to figure out which answer was correct. So leave them until then. And if you're taking your exam on paper, underline keywords and cross out incorrect options. If you take IELTS on computer, I'm afraid you can't do that because highlighting takes too much time. The next question I often hear is, can I write the answers in capital letters? Here is the latest IDP recommendation. In IELTS on paper, write all your reading and listening answers in capitals, so it's clear for the examiner. However, in computer-delivered IELTS, handwriting is not an issue, so you should try to write all words using upper and lower case. However, in IELTS writing, you must use correct capitalization everywhere. Next, don't leave questions unanswered. Make your best guess. Points for incorrect answers are not deducted, and there is always a chance to guess it right. Spelling counts. You do need to spell the words correctly. You can use British or American spelling. Here's a good one. Once you find a missing word, check that the sentence is grammatically correct. For example, look at question number 2. Wetland, lakes, ponds, and a. Notice the article a. So could the answer be rivers? No, the sentence is not correct. The answer is river. Just a noun, so don't include articles in your answers. Look at number 3. Science. Children look at. What's the answer? Program or data? We don't have the article in the question, which means the answer must be plural or uncountable. In our case, data. Next, keep an eye on 2 questions, your question and the next. If you accidentally miss one answer, you want to quickly switch to the next question and avoid losing several points in a row. Knowing the right strategies and tips can be of great help, but only on one condition: if you practice the right way. I will show you my favorite way to practice to achieve better results and cut down on the number of tests you need to do. First of all, use the official practice tests. You know, it's pretty difficult to create a test paper that has the same level of difficulty as the exam papers. Non-official tests may be easier, harder, confusing, or simply different. That's not good. The best tests are Cambridge practice tests, and you may use any recent book, let's say from number 17 and up. Several official practice tests are available for free. They are slightly different, but still useful. They are linked in my study plan along with other most useful resources. And following the steps in this plan can help you shorten your preparation time, and it's free to download in the description below. Okay, once you do a full IELTS listening test, don't just count the number of answers and close the book. An equally important part comes next. At the end of the book, you can find audio scripts of all the recordings. Here they are. So check each question you answered incorrectly and try to understand why you got it wrong. Was it the spelling? Were you confused by a distractor? Maybe a certain type of task is more difficult for you. Discover your weaknesses and work on them. And if you couldn't understand certain parts of the recording, but the transcript was perfectly clear, this is a sign that your listening skills need a boost. And here are my 2 favorite ways to improve listening skills. The first involves using a Cambridge practice test. Use a test you've already completed. So select one recording. First, listen to it without the transcript. There is no need to answer any questions, just focus on listening. Are there parts that sound unclear to you? If so, listen again while following along with the transcript in the book. So make sure you can clearly hear every phrase. If not, replay this phrase or sentence until you can clearly understand every word. Finally, listen to the recording again without the transcript. It should now sound much clearer to you. This exercise helps your brain connect the words and phrases you know with their pronunciation, improving your listening skills. Number 2, learn different accents. In your test, you may encounter British, American, Canadian, or Australian accents. However, I think it's most important to get comfortable with British and American accents. Don't stress about trying to understand American movies. Instead, focus on sources with clear speech and good articulation, such as podcasts or news. Audiobooks are also a fantastic source. Listening is a passive skill, so you can work on it even while doing something else. I usually listen to books while cooking dinner or when I'm on the tube, and I easily finish a couple of books a month. And I listen to all my books on Audible. If you're not there yet, you can get any audiobook as part of their free trial. I'll leave a link in the description to claim your free book. Just remember that if you don't want to start paying for your monthly subscription, you need to cancel it within 1 month, and you still get to keep your first book. By now, you know the general strategies for the listening section. You know how to practice for best results, how to boost your listening skills. But there is still one missing piece of the puzzle: learning more about each of the 4 types of the tasks and how to solve them. And you can do it in this video here, where we cover the best strategies for each task and practice together. Thank you so much for watching me today. Good luck with your preparation and your exam. Bye!